welcome to episode 17 of the Meeple Podcast. I'm Bill Price.
And I'm Hollis Biggs.
And welcome. So today we're going to take a look at some party games, particularly some party games that are like, hey, what do I do when I have, 10 people, 15 people, 20 people? What kind of games can I play? Well, I have an answer for you. And so I'm excited to delve in.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about the games today. The first one I'd love for you to explain the rules to is Green Team Wins.
Okay, so Green Team Wins is a party game, and this is actually sold in Target. Is one of the places you can buy it, but they sell it in kind of I want to call them like individuals. So the one box they sell says it's for 3 to 6 players. The original game and the full version of the game is actually 3 to 12 players, and it can actually even be 3 to 18 players if you get a third box. But all you need to do is you just need to, if you want 12 players, you just buy 2 boxes. And it's basically just gives you additional score sheets and additional markers for it. So what you do is the idea is there is an orange team and a green team. And the green team always wins. So you want to be on the green team. So just that's right in the name. So there's a series of cards. So there's 3 different types of cards. And you're going to pick 5 random ones of each type and mix them into a deck. So you're going to have 15, rounds. And what you do is somebody reads a card. So the 3 types of cards are, there's fill in the blanks, which is a fill in the blank. There's a this or that, where there's a statement or another statement. And then there's best of 3. So there's 3 choices, 1, 2, and 3. So we'll give some examples kind of after I go through the flow here. And so you ask a question. I'm going to give you an example. So I say, take a boat across the ocean or take a train across the country. So now everybody decides which one they're going to take, A or B. So they jot it down on their card, and everybody reveals. And everyone starts out on the orange team. But if you have the most popular answer, so say 10 people are playing and 7 people say take a boat across the ocean, and you're one of those people, then all 7 of those people immediately go from the orange team to the green team, and they each score 1 point. Now, if you are already on the orange team, so say it's later in the game, and you are still in that majority on an answer, you score 2 points. So it's 1 point for getting on the orange team, 2 points for already being on the orange team and staying on the orange team. The green team. Because
okay.
Green team wins. If you're on the orange team, you score nothing, and you're not a loser, but you're not a winner. So, if you ain't first, you're last, right?
That's exactly right in this game.
Right. So some examples, there's this or that, like one that I gave you. There's also a best of 3. So this would be, which would make the best 5th suit in a deck of playing cards? Swords, coins, or stars? Here's another best of 3. Who would make the best boyfriend? Frankenstein, the Wolfman, or Dracula? Then there's some fill in the blanks. So, for example, 3 blank, mother blank, that's a fun one, national blank, south blank, blank code. So some of these, as you can tell, are easier than others. And so like blank code, like I could write bro code, or I could write Morse code, or I could write, like those are the only 2 that spring to mind.
Girl code
Girl
could also
code,
be one.
I guess I don't know much about that. So, but sure, if that's the thing you guys do.
We'll have to educate you on that.
Okay, that's fair. So some of them you're going to have a lot of people agree, and some there's going to be all kinds of scattered answers, especially with the fill in the blank. So it's a lot of fun. People joke around. It can get loud. I wouldn't say there's necessarily what I'd call hardcore strategy here.
No, the thing I noticed with this game in particular is that your answers heavily depend on who you're playing with. I think, because you're trying to stay on the green team. So, like, for some of these, how do I want to phrase this? For some of these, I would select a very different answer than Bill would. But I, kind of cater my answers sometimes to who we're playing with.
But you also have to know who's going to cater back.
And that's tough.
If you're playing with somebody who's like, well, what's Hollis going to put down? And you're like, oh, well, what's Bill going to put down? Then all of a sudden we have answers that don't match each other. So I tend to play pretty straightforward and honest. Like, I answer what people would expect me to answer, people who know me. So,
and that's totally fair.
Yeah.
The fill in the blanks I find are the toughest, just because truly they can vary so dramatically. For example, there's one in here that says Jennifer blank. Jennifer Aniston, Jennifer Lawrence. Yep. We love a hometown hero because we're here from Louisville, Kentucky, where she's also from. So, it kind of depends on where you're playing or who you're playing with, kind of how you might want to cater your answers, or again, depending on who might cater those answers back. So it's definitely interesting. The fill in the blanks are a little more challenging, but this was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So great party game.
Yes.
Great for a pretty large group. But if I recall correctly, what if you have an even amount of people and they have a tie? What happens then?
I think with ties, the green team stays on the green team. The orange team stays on the orange team. And the people on the green team get 1 point. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that doesn't change any. You can't change teams on a tie.
Interesting. All right.
But it's so with 15 rounds to go. Like, sometimes you're going to be on the green team and just scoring points, 2 points, and then sometimes you're like, I just cannot answer like everybody else to save my life. Like, I'm just orange for life. And here at the Maple Podcast, because orange and blue are kind of our colors, kind of bummed this isn't orange and blue team wins. But, let's potato.
But we can manage with green.
Yeah.
But I found that no one really stayed on the green team for too extended a period with that many rounds. I think this game does a really great job of kind of giving everyone a chance to come back. And
for sure.
I would say this is a fun party game because it does keep people engaged the entire time.
Yeah. And you'll have moments where people will be like, what? How could you guys not have gotten this? And you're like the only one that filled in the blank with that particular Jennifer or whatever. And you're like, how did you guys? And so it just becomes just a lot of fun back and forth. And it can, with the right group, especially, this can be really, really fun. I would not personally play this with less than 6. I feel like at 3 especially, but even 4 or 5, you kind of get a lot of the same answers. Mm-hmm. And so there's not a lot of variation back and forth, especially if those people know each other really well. But once you get up higher, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, up to 12, or even up to 18 with 3 boxes, the more people you have, like the more chances of getting different answers and having these big wild swings that kind of make this game really fun. So if you have a whole bunch of people, this is definitely a good one. That's Green Team Wins. It's very easy to find too. It's on Amazon. It's in Target. I think Walmart has it.
Really solid choice. Definitely a great party game.
Yeah, and make sure you look at the box to see what you're buying. Some of them will say 3 to 12. Some will say 3 to 6. If it says 3 to 6, any of them you can just buy additional boxes, and because really all you're getting is extra player boards. In theory, you could even play this on paper as long as you have the cards. Yeah. So that's another.
They're just like laminated kind of dry erase.
Yeah.
Dry erase markers that have the little eraser at the top, and just they are like a specific card because you track your points at the top, but you could pretty easily track that elsewhere. So
yeah. Oh, for sure.
There are ways around it if you don't want to buy multiple packs or boxes.
Agreed. All right. So what would you give this?
I am going to give this one, going to give this one a solid 7. I
Me
think it was
too.
a lot of fun. Little slightly less portable just because you do have to have like the player cards or, paper or whatever. And you have to have enough either dry erase markers or pens, depending on, again, how many packs you've purchased or whatever. But this one is not the most portable. I wouldn't necessarily bring it out too often. But if I had a big group and I was entertaining at my house or at a friend's house, I think this would be a solid choice.
Yeah, I think I lean towards a 7, but I think that with a larger crowd and especially the right crowd, this could be an 8 or 9. I mean, I know people that are absolutely in love with this game. That just like, I'm going to bring this out every single time I have a bunch of people. So it is very popular, and a lot of people really like it. And so with the right group, this could absolutely be your 8 or 9. Me personally, I'm not as into traditional party games like this as I am in other games, so I lean more towards your score of 7. But the next game on our list is a game for 2 to 20 players. And so this is a good one. And honestly, I'm going to go the other direction. This gets a little bloated with more than 12 or 13 people. It can play up to 20 and it plays fine up to 20. But it can be very hectic. And this one is Werewords. So it's called they call it the hidden identity word game. So which kind of describes it. It's basically a combination of the game Werewolf. If you've ever heard of that, Werewolf or Mafia, and 20 questions, which sounds like an unusual mashup. But it's what's called a social deduction game. And in a social deduction game, typically all the players are assigned a secret role. Like in this case, you could be a villager, or you could be a werewolf, or you could be a seer, or an apprentice, or a minion, or, those kinds of, a beholder. Like there's all kinds of different, doppelganger. There's all kinds of different roles depending on how many. And then basically the mayor, I believe, is the one who kind of is in charge of the word. So how this works, the werewolves are on one team. Everyone else is on the other team. So, but nobody knows who's on what team. So everyone's kind of like looking at each other. Are you the werewolf? Are you the werewolf? Are you the werewolf? And one player is the mayor. And this is an app-assisted game. So there is a phone app that you can download, and it actually gives all the instructions. You put in how many players there are, and it tells you which roles to pull out. So like, with 5 players, it may be like, all right, 1 werewolf and a seer and 2 villagers and a mayor, or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then it actually will read the instructions to you. It'll say, everybody put your head down and close your eyes. And it'll be like, werewolves or werewolf, open your eyes and, take a look at the secret word. And then the mayor looks at the secret word. And so the werewolf, so there's the secret word. So that's why it's called Werewords. So in the beginning, the app, you choose a secret word if you're the mayor. Nobody else knows this word except the werewolf will know. Or if there's a lot of players, there could be multiple werewolves. And when everybody opens their eyes, the seer knows who the werewolves are. The werewolf doesn't know who the seer is. And the mayor just doesn't know who anybody is. They don't really care. So everybody starts asking the mayor questions. 20 question style, yes or no questions, to try and determine this word. They have a certain amount of time. I think it's like 3 minutes or 4 minutes or some kind of minutes. And the app keeps track of all this for you. So your job as the mayor is to answer those. Is it bigger than a bread box? And you have these tiles that are like check mark or X. So it's like yes or no. So you give this tile. So like you asked me, is it mechanical? And I'll be like, no. So I'll give you an X. And then somebody else will be like, is it an animal? I'll be like, yes. And turns, does it have 2 long ears? Yes. Oh, it's a rabbit. Right? So somebody guesses. As soon as somebody guesses it, that you hit the timer, it's done. Now, at that point, the werewolf reveals themselves, and they have to, if they can determine who the seer was, because the seer knows the secret word as well, and they're trying to help the gang along, and the werewolf is trying to take them in a different direction. So if the werewolf can determine who the seer is and say, aha, I think you're the seer because you were giving really good clues here, then the werewolf wins. If they don't pick who the seer is, then the villagers win, and the town is saved from the werewolf, and no babies get eaten.
This was a lot of fun. I think I've only played this one time that I recall.
Yes.
I think we played multiple rounds of it. Cause we
played it a couple times.
We tried it out a couple times. I think Bill was the mayor each time. Yes. So probably a little bit less fun.
Actually, I think I was not the mayor once.
Potentially.
I think Alex was the mayor once.
Oof. That was probably a tough one.
So
if I recall that round. I think this game is a lot of fun. I think we played in a group of probably 5 or 6. We didn't play with, the max 20 people.
Yeah, I think it was just 6. I think we played with 6.
But I do think the more people you have, the probably more interesting the game gets, just because there are some additional roles that we didn't play
at the time. There's a ton of them. The fewer people that play, the fewer roles you have. So we really just played with like the mayor, a werewolf, villagers, and the seer. Once you add other people, there's other roles like the doppelganger that can pretend to be somebody else, and there's like the apprentice who can help somebody do so. I don't know. I haven't played it, so but this is a very popular social deduction style party game, and it's really, really good for large groups of people, and even smaller groups of people. But it's just it's really exciting for especially people who like a good mystery.
Oh yeah,
it has that air of like, ooh, who's what are you? Are you gonna betray me? Are you gonna similar to there are plenty of other of these kind of social deduction type games. There was a big boom of them a few years ago, and then kind of flooded the market, and now they're going a little more out of style. But like Secret Hitler and Deception Murder in Hong Kong, and there's multiple others. There's one called I have over here. I don't remember what it's called.
Secret Hitler is
The Resistance.
Secret Hitler is personally one of my favorite games, like of all time. It's a lot of fun. It was one of the first social deduction games I ever played, so I have a particular affinity for that one. Werewords, I would say, is a lot faster. There's a lot more setup with a lot of other social deduction games where you might have to do certain actions or complete a set of tasks in order to figure out, to even get to a point where you'd vote on who is the werewolf or who's the seer and things like that. So I like this game a lot, purely on the fact that it is a very quick game, and I honestly really like the app-based setup. I think that's kind of neat. We don't see that a lot right now. I have a feeling we're trending into more of that category.
We're seeing more and more of them coming into mainstream board gaming. We did review another game that is app-assisted, Hitster, if you remember. Werewords is playable without the app. I wouldn't recommend it, but like a Hitster isn't even playable without it. So, but the Werewords app is exceptional. It's a phenomenal app. I have several app-assisted games, and this is probably the best app of all of them. So, it works really well. This is the box says 10 minutes, and that is absolutely the max. It because the round only lasts like 4 or 5 minutes, and then it's a couple minutes of like setup and explanation through the app. And so there's no way this game takes any longer than 10 minutes. It's very fast. You can play multiple rounds over and over and give people different, let people try out different roles. You could literally just play this, have a whole bunch of people over and just play this all night. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. And there's different levels, like there's easy words and medium words and hard words. I would never play with any of the hard words. They're really bizarre words like locomotion. Like I can't fathom what kind of questions I'd have to ask to get the word locomotion.
I'd have to really dig in the back of my brain for that one.
Right. But like an easy word would be like apple.
Totally.
You know? So it's and there's thousands and thousands of these words. So you're never going to get the same one. And what it'll do is you choose if you want easy, medium, or hard, and then it gives you like 3 words to choose from. So if it does happen to be a repeat, you can avoid that repeat. So it's a great app, and this is a great game. I would give this a 9.
Wow, that's a pretty high ranking for you.
I really like social deduction games. So
well, that's helpful. I am going to give this one... I'm probably going to give this one an 8, in particular, just because I could see myself as someone who's not particularly savvy when it comes to explaining the rules of games in order to get a group engaged. I, again, always torture Bill, make him explain the rules to everything. So
I like it.
In this case, I would say Werewords is a great game if you're trying to get someone into board games in general, because quite frankly, there's an app to explain the rules to you. And that's kind of nice. So for someone like me that wants to engage other people, but doesn't want to have to take on the task of explaining the rules, this is a really solid option. So I'm going to give it an 8, but I could easily see it being a 9 or a 10.
Nice. Well, awesome. Okay. So those are our 2 kind of party game suggestions for large groups of people. I know previously we've talked party games in the 5, 6, 7 people range. So these are both kind of larger groups. So you always want to have a game like this in your repertoire.
Absolutely.
So I don't have 20 friends, but if I did, I'd play this game with 20 people. So okay. So, as always, you can reach us at themeeplepodcast@gmail.com. You can check us out on Instagram at themeeplepodcast, also on Facebook, and www.themeeplepodcast.com, where you can check out an episode list that contains pictures and descriptions of every game that we review, in addition to our ratings and player counts and all that. So, check that out. And we'd love your feedback.
Yeah.
More feedback.
Absolutely. Thanks for listening.